los dejé en la camioneta blanca.
¿Te voló la pinche caja, Fernando? Sí, güey, ya no está, güey. Nada más. Neta. Pinche vato, mamón. ¿Cómo se va a volar una chingada tan pesada? ¡Ojo! Métele algo, por favor.
Es todo extra que salió, ¿eh?
Todo eso sobró supuestamente, pero ya, como ya no lo regresan.
No, estas están buenas, ¿eh? I have a dentist appointment, so I thought I had it at 9:30 this morning, but apparently that was Wyatt's appointment, which is my stepson. So mine is at 2 o'clock, so I have a little bit of time to work this morning. And then so I was talking to Felix, and he was saying if I can go check on the white GMC, the Duramax, because it shot up a code for the DEF system. So he wants me to go see if I can take a look at that at home before my appointment, and if I can fix it by today. And if I can fix it by today, they're gonna need it tomorrow, or we're gonna need it tomorrow, so we're gonna go from there. They're gonna stay here and do some pressure washes. So while I go do that, I'm gonna go to the dump and then go deal with that. And then from there, I do not know where the... Oh, I left it in that truck. Perfect. But yeah, from there I'm gonna go home and we'll do some mechanic stuff. Out here, soupy, muddy mess. Luckily it's a quick dump. Not really too much to worry about. And I don't have too much weight right now, so just gonna open it, dump it, get out of here. boots. Looks like prison slop out here. Let's see if that did it. Come on, we're best traction right now. Looks like it is. Not too much right now. I have to freaking rinse off my boots when I get home. Alright. Done here. Alright, as you can see, we're back at home checking out a vehicle here. Let's see what code pops up here. P0073. Gonna have to look this up. I know there's intake air temperature sensor, but ambient air temperature sensor might be a different sensor. Oh, there's a find a fix. ECM, nice. Ambient air temp sensor. Had nothing to do with it, so let's take this off and have a look-see, shall we? Ambient air temp sensor. Alright, put them in the back. If you guys can see, that's the new tonneau cover. How's it look? Look pretty good? I think it does a good job at sealing. This is inside's all wet because of yesterday. We left it. All this stuff got wet before I put the cover on, so everything, all my stuff feels dry, so I'm not worried about it. Some of that. Intake air temp sensor, which I had to replace this exact sensor on the other truck. Connector looks good. I think for a very similar reason, and my guess is we're gonna see some soot on this sensor here, which causes the reading to get really skewed. We're gonna see. That might be an issue there. That's supposed to read something or other. Yep. I do not feel comfortable just cleaning that and sending it. Probably just get a new one. They're not very expensive. They're very inexpensive, I should say. So I'm gonna take a picture of this, send it to him, and then this is why people delete their trucks. Look at that nasty stuff. Bleep that out, but look at those crusties. This is all going into your intake and going through the motor because it's recirculating the diesel exhaust gas back into the intake. And they expect these trucks to last. I don't believe it. Anyway, but yeah, so this is why a lot of people want to delete their trucks, because they're having issues with sensors in the intake, the sensors in the exhaust system, and it just creates nothing but problems. You know, this truck only has like 50,000 miles, and look at that thing. That's just nasty. I knew it was gonna be caked up because I've had to deal with this same issue with Dodges, Fords, and Chevys. It's just a common issue everywhere, you know, all around. So I need to grab my phone. I'm gonna take a picture of this. I'll send it to them. That way we can get this truck up and running for tomorrow. Hoping to get this done earlier, but had some errands to run, you know, Christmas shopping and all. But so these are the sensors here. This is the old one, caked up, and the little plastic tabs got so hot that they just ended up pretty much disintegrating and coming apart and stuff. So we're gonna put this new one in, and then we're gonna check and see, make sure everything's all fixed. But that is a significant difference in soot. That sensor is just caked in soot. You can't even see the metal part on it. So I did lube this up. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a little bit of lube on there. That way it just sits nice and goes in fine. Okay, she said a single 10 mil. Click, click, bam, we're on. Alrighty, so went to start this truck up in the morning and check engine light came on, and then so I checked the code in it. It's the exact same code from last night. Then after I put that other intake temp sensor in, check the code is P0073, which is for an ambient air temperature sensor, high resistance, and then it said circuit fault. So then I removed the ambient air temp sensor here, because there's an intake ambient air temp sensor, which is part of the MAP sensor unit that I replaced yesterday, and then there's also an ambient air temp sensor, which is just takes the ambient air from the outside, not from the intake. So there's two separate sensors there. I'm gonna eat that sensor. I'm gonna put it in for free because I do a lot of work for this guy, so I'm not too worried about it. But that was my bad. That was on me, because I was thinking intake air temp sensor because we had a similar issue with something else, but that does not look good. But yeah, so he had a similar issue with something else, and then but yeah, anyway, we're on the ambient air temp sensor. I removed it. I tested the sensor for resistance. I got 7.1 ohms, which I believe is right. The chart doesn't give me a resistance reading to correlation to temperature all the way down to 37 degrees, which is what it is now. But it was pretty close to what I calculated. So I calculated like 6.5. But when I look at doing circuit testing, it's telling me to test the circuit between both wires going to ground when the whole system shut down. So right now the whole system shut down. I should be getting less than 10 ohms, and right now we are at 215 kilo ohms. So we definitely have an issue with the circuit here. So I'm going to try to access the ECM, which is down below over here. We're going to take that apart and see if we can find what's going on here. Work on vehicles, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Still giving me high resistance readings from their back, so I'm gonna have to try to find where we're at. It's gonna be this connector. I just don't know if it's so right about now my camera died. I finished plugging that back in after I got all the water dried out, and then retested the resistance, and I got 0 resistance. So plugged everything back in. I put the door panel back on, turned the vehicle on, you know, checked for codes, and it looked like the code had passed. So then I went and drove it for a few miles before clearing the code, and no check engine light or anything. Then I tried to turn the vehicle back on and off a few times to make sure I cycled the ignition. So if it did come on, it would come on right away and no issues. So I'm pretty sure that was the issue. And so we a couple days later, you know, we've been driving it for a few days now, and that check engine light has been disappeared. So you know, we ended up putting that intake air temperature sensor as well in the air filter per customer request. So everything looked good. So that's the end of the video. Thank you so much. See you next time.